Lancaster O'Lock had betrayed his sheriff, but more importantly, he had betrayed his friend. He and Ardis had ridden together longer than anyone. They had met shortly after Ardis became sheriff. Boris remembered the story well, having heard some version of it from one or the other of them for what seemed the whole of his adult life. Let the whiskey flow long enough, and Ardis or Lank would pull out that old chestnut and chew on it all night. Ardis was barely 20 then, full of sap and very green. Being the youngest sheriff in the history of Breton, he never let a chance to prove his sand and reinforce his authority slip by. Any minor infraction of the law, custom, or common decency, from spitting to public drunkenness, would find the offender not only punished to the fullest extent of the law, but also the recipient of an outraged tongue-lashing by the Boy King, as the local wags took to calling him. About a month or so after he took office, Ardis was out riding the range when he came upon another rider approaching him on the narrow trail. The stranger couldn't have been much older than Ardis, but he rode his horse with an authority that implied a dignity beyond his years. He was clad head to toe in white flat-brimmed Stetson, white linen suit, albeit with a grey string tie, and the palest tan riding boots Ardis had ever seen. His ginger hair was long, almost to his shoulders, and he wore his moustaches below his chin and waxed to perfection. Ardis pulled his horse off to the side in order to let the stranger pass, and nodded as he rode by. The stranger did nothing in return as he passed, didn't even look in Ardis's direction. "Howdy," Ardis said, nodding his head again. The stranger said nothing. By this time, Ardis was mad enough to bite himself, but he tried his best to maintain his calm. "Perhaps you're new to these parts," he said slowly and crisply, "and don't know we got manners out here." "Oh," the stranger absently waved his hand, his back to Ardis as he moved further down the trail. "Howdy." This nonchalance made Ardis even angrier, if such a thing were possible. He reined his horse around and moved after the insolent newcomer. "Hey," he called. "That ain't good enough, sir." The stranger pulled his horse to a stop and slowly turned his mount around to see the young sheriff approach him. But he said nothing. "You hear me, boy?" Ardis's face was reddening steadily as the stranger's silence persisted. "I ain't a man to be disrespected." At this, the stranger chuckled. "Ha ha ha, indeed. You're barely a man at all." His voice was as smooth as fine silk. "There can't be more than 2 winters' difference between us." This was too much for Ardis, who stopped his horse and drew one of the Colt Navy revolvers he'd so recently inherited from his father. "Get off your horse and say that to my face, you silver-tongued son of a bitch." The stranger smiled again from his seat, but made no effort to dismount. "You're going to shoot me, sir? Bad manners is a capital offence here, is it?" "A lot of things are killing offences in the wastelands," Ardis replied. "Disrespecting the duly appointed law, for one." The stranger nodded thoughtfully. "I see," he responded. He had an accent that Ardis couldn't quite place. "And neglecting to make my manners to young men on the trail constitutes disrespecting the law, does it?" "It does if the young man is the local sheriff." "Ah, and you are, I take it, the local sheriff." The stranger swung his leg up over his horse and climbed out of the saddle. "My mistake. Please accept my sincerest apologies, Mr. Drake. Sheriff Ardis Drake." Ardis did not lower his gun or make a move to dismount. "You ain't getting out of it that easy." "No, sir, Sheriff Drake." The stranger smiled, and Ardis couldn't quite tell if it was at his expense
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.